So I'm now live. Welcome along. This is a completely impromptu hangout, which means it's very possible that no one will be watching this, but we'll see what happens. Basically, this is to kind of redress a balance of my own because I wasn't able to actually look at the schedules live as they came out. I work as a DJ, which means my evenings are very much taken up, unfortunately. And as it happens, I got a last-minute gig in last night, and I was on the road as the panels were announced. However, we have some form of way of looking them over, and I don't even know if Alyssa is watching this. I know that we were going to try and plan something for yesterday evening to do this, but that was clearly something that wasn't going to work. Bear with me. However, I have got the pop-out chat up and running for this hangout, so you never know. If you want to jump in, if there's anything that you want to talk about, everything you want to mention, or if there's anything that you've spotted in the hangout, in the schedules, do let us know. I'm going to be going through the schedules as I've put together for An Englishman in San Diego. I've done them for a number of the rooms, not all of them. I will be actually going through the rest of the schedules through the CCI elements very shortly indeed. But let's go through the major rooms of the convention taking place. So the announcements we've had so far are Wednesday the 19th and Thursday the 20th. Not that far to go now. So if I bring this up into screen share, and here we are with the schedules as announced so far. Ballroom 20, we have ourselves the Warner Brothers television sneak peek pilot screenings. Not as many as the usual items as we would have on the docket, purely because we have ourselves the hour-long episode of Teen Titans Go. But we do have Deception, which is an exclusive pilot screening. We also have Krypton and Black Lightning. Both of those have panels which have been announced and confirmed, or should I say announced by their own organizers, not necessarily by Comic-Con themselves. In Ballroom 20 then we have ourselves the 18th annual animation show of shows, which doesn't have any of the filmmakers as such, but it does have the curator of that particular panel available to talk about them, and also showing a number of the shorts, including Mirror, Pearl, and also the Pixar animation film Piper, which will no doubt show up on the beginning of possibly Cars 3. Then we have ourselves Medina, which is the first ever fantasy sci-fi series from the Middle East. This looks interesting, actually, considering that we have ourselves a major talent roster involved, from the producer, writers of Saw, Piranha, Friday the 13th, 12 Monkeys, and yes, you have ourselves some cast involved as well, with Natasha Henstridge and Eric Roberts, both of which are rather pretty people, so they'll be worthwhile checking out. We also then have ourselves sci-fi hosts The Great Debate. Now this we have had announced already as part of the sci-fi coverage that's going to be hitting San Diego. I believe, as far as I was aware, this is a Kevin Smith panel, but we'll have to check and see what exactly he's doing with that. And then we have ourselves the panels, which all of those are fun and exciting, and yeah, they are going to be of a lot of interest to a lot of people. But they are going to have a lot of people sitting in through those panels for the panels that come up next, which include Battlestar Galactica, a full reunion of the series. I do know that a whole host of the cast will be involved. If we just have a look at the actual panel details themselves, as far as I'm aware, oh no, I think it's somewhere else that's actually listed. I may have to go through the official press list, but there is actually a full listing of people that have been announced for that. I think if you bear with me a second, I will actually try and dig that email up. We also have ourselves The Strain, which does have a full cast listing available. we have ourselves the showrunner, Carlton Cruz, the executive producer, Chuck Hogan, Corey Stoll, David Bradley. David Bradley's going to be in town. Excellent. I have to drop him a line. Kevin Durand, Ruta Gedmintas, Miguel Gomez, Richard Samuel, and Max Charles, all going to be talking about The Strain. But David Bradley, that basically does tell us that we're going to be having David Bradley show up for the Doctor Who panel, which is going to be taking place in Hall H on the Saturday. David Bradley, of course, was announced as the person who is replicating the first Doctor in the Christmas special, and he also played him in An Adventure in Time and Space. So I think we may be seeing him on stage, so that'd be rather cool. Then the panel, which I really want to go and check this panel out. This is Legion, which takes place between 5 and 6. That is going to be a full table. Noah Hawley, John Cameron, Lauren Schuler-Donner and Jeff Loeb, who are the showrunners and executive producers. And then you've got the stars: Dan Stevens, Rachel Keller, Aubrey Plaza, Gene Smart, Bill Irwin, Jeremy Harris, and Amber Midthunder. Dan Stevens, another person I may just have to drop a line to as a Brit. Oh, we have ourselves Alyssa, who is online. I don't know if I might just quickly invite her on to see if she wants to take part in this. Bear with me a second. I think we'll just come off that particular screen. But yes, if there's any of those that kind of jump out at you, what do you think? Is there something that you think could tickle your fancy? Is Legion something that attracts your attention? Who knows? We'd love to this is going to surprise the heck out of her because she doesn't know this is happening. So, okay, let's continue with the breakdown. Certainly, so that's Ballroom 20. Ballroom 20 looks like an incredibly strong room throughout the course of the entire convention as it happens. I mean, if we have a look at Saturday, now remember, these are not confirmed by CCI and things could switch around. But at the end of the day, they have been announced by their showrunners and by their the actual people involved in the making of the channels, for example. So these are acknowledged as panels for Ballroom 20, Psych at 10 o'clock, iZombie at 11:15, The 100 at 12:30. At 3:45, you've got the Marvel Television and Gifted, and at 5 o'clock, you have Outlander. You have a very conspicuous space there between 1:45 and 3:30. It's also quite a long gap as well. 2 panels worth there. Yet to find out exactly what that's going to be. Fingers crossed, however, and I'm certain my missus will be very up for this, for a Buffy panel, which I think someone will be up for checking out. We do have somebody watching on the live hangout, so yeah, do jump in on the Q&A. Let us know if there's anything that kind of jumps out at you. Perhaps. We do have, like I say, the Saturdays as well. That's a little bit more of a complete listing for Ballroom 20. 11 o'clock Riverdale, 12 o'clock Simpsons, 1 p.m. for Family Guy and American Dad. Not a massive change to the listings, certainly for those 2 animation panels. Then it starts going into your genre television, live action again. At 2:30, you have the first glance at Star Trek Discovery. And then we're into the CW stuff. A long run, and you may notice as well, there's no breaks. So it's literally the panels, the people will be on and off. Whoever's moderating this must have the endurance of a racehorse. You have Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, Flash, and Arrow. Obviously, the big one there is Black Lightning as the new reveal to the CW lineup. So quite the panel. And of course, you're going to have some impressive cast showing up on that particular one as well. It's going to be an interesting day. So once again, if there's anything that kind of jumps out at you, perhaps let us know. If there's something that screams that you have to be in Ballroom 20, we'd love to hear from you. So that's Ballroom 20. Ballroom H, Hall H, sorry. We have ourselves not as much content because obviously it starts a little bit later in the day. It's a 1:30 start for Ballroom 20, but we have ourselves a strong panel pretty much off the top, straight off the bat. it's quite an impressive thing. It will be 20th Century Fox. May just hang fire on this and let Alyssa jump in on this, but no, I think it's more a case of what we're going to do is on the Sunday show, on the Hangout, on the Talking Comic-Con and Cup of Tea live show, we're going to go through all the to be announced panels and do ourselves an educated guess about who will be showing up on those particular panels. We're going to be talking to Helen O'Hara from Empire Magazine, so looking forward to speaking to her. We then have a couple of panels, or certainly one panel, which I don't know anything about, which I'm going to have to do a little bit of an investigation about. Brigsby Bear, which I have no clue about, frankly. It's a Sony Pictures Classics film, which usually means it's more art house or not as mainstream. Carl Mooney, Dave McCary, Beck Bennett, Kevin Costello, and members of the Lonely Island. Well, that kind of tells me a lot about the actual film. So if the Lonely Island are involved, okay. You've also got a friend of the Hangouts. We've had him on as a guest, Entertainment Weekly's Anthony Bresnikan, who's going to be hosting that. So that's between 12:45 and 1:45. We have ourselves between 2 and 3 Teen Wolf. It's going to be an interesting panel there, considering, of course, that Teen Wolf has been now... bear with me a second. Teen Wolf has now been cancelled, or at least it's coming to the end of its run. Yeah, it's going to be an emotional panel, I think it's safe to say. Hopefully everyone can keep it together, keep the tears to a minimum. Yeah, I think that's going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun, but that's going to be a very emotional panel. Yes, Alyssa apparently will be joining us, so that'd be nice. So there we go, something to have her jumping on. We have ourselves 2 panels then, which, like I say, oh, hello. There you go. There's Alyssa joining us. How are you?
I'm well.
Good. Like I say, this is completely impromptu. I wasn't even planning this, so this is just off the bat. And I know that you were kind of early in the morning, so I didn't know that you'd be ready or anything. So this was literally just something I thought I'd do. So I apologize for that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I will have
there we go.
In about 20 minutes, though, because
don't worry, we'll make it. And yeah, we're going to make it real quick because I've got stuff to do myself.
And I'm still in my PJs.
Okay, we'll make it real quick then. Well, we've done Ballroom 20.
No.
We've done Ballroom.
The Expanse, you know, just because we're going to have an Expanse panel, we have to, you know.
It's representing. I like. At the moment, I'm using my phone as one camera, and we're also screen sharing the post that I put up on the An Englishman in San Diego. We've gone through Ballroom 20. There's been much chatter on the forum about what we've been announced so far, because I mean, from the looks of things, it's looking like the main day of Thursday. It's going to be a lot of sitting through to get through to Battlestar, Legion, Strain, Inhumans.
To my mind,
it's a lot of camping.
Right. To my mind, honestly, what I really was enjoying was some of the smaller panels. I thought those just kind of blew me away in terms of, I mean, did you know that Jack Kirby wrote? I'm sorry?
Go on.
Did you know?
What I was going to do is do the big rooms first and then do the smaller rooms.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ballroom 20, yes. I was thinking about doing Ballroom 20, and the camping, I just decided it wasn't going to be worth it for me to wait for the Legion panel.
Fair enough. Okay, right. So yeah, that's kind of what's been announced there, yeah, it's surprising that we've only getting the 4 shows for the Wednesday preview note as well. But then again, that is going to be taken up by that hour-long episode of Teen Titans Go. So that kind of explains why we're only getting the 4 instead of the 5. So there we go.
I did like 6 BCF. That appealed to me.
Yeah, that's the room we're going to get to. We'll get there in a second. Right, so we'll go down the line. We've got ourselves Hall H then. So like I say, 20th Century Fox, I think we're going to be looking at Deadpool 2, possibly the sequel for Harry Potter. We'll talk about all of this on Sunday with Helen O'Hara from Empire Magazine about the TBAs. But Brigsby Bear, I know nothing about, but like I say, the fact that it mentions the Lonely Island in there, I think that gives us a sense of that kind of film and what that film is going to be about. So yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting panel. But like I say, not many people know about that panel, so it's kind of nestled between 20th Century Fox and Teen Wolf. I'm curious to see how much or how many people will actually clear out of that room once 20th Century Fox is done.
I think a lot of the Teen Wolf people are hoping that more people clear out because I know that it seemed like a few people were disappointed, and I'm just kind of going on memory here, and it is first thing in the morning for me, guys, but it seemed like the Teen Wolf folks were a little not happy that where it was situated, because they wanted to go see that. They also wanted to go see the MTV party that's happening, I believe, Friday or Saturday night. So it's that seems like an odd day in Hall H.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Then you've got the Netflix one. I think this is going to attract a lot of attention, not only because of the talent on stage, but also this is the first Netflix panel featuring the new action thriller film Bright, starring Will Smith, Joel Edgerton, Noomi Rapace, Lucy Fry, Edgar Ramirez, and director David Ayer, all which have been confirmed will be on stage. And then you have yourself Death Note. We've no idea which cast are going to be showing up, but I'm curious to see if anybody actually sticks around for that, purely because it has got itself a fair amount of controversy. Because at the end of the day, it's an adaptation of a manga and it's westernized. And that's nowadays that's never a wise thing to do, but yeah, curious to see how that's going to go. And then you've got the Nerdist panel. He's got his own panel, Nerdist panel in Hall H. Wow, which is a hell of a thing. Jessica Chobot, Carl Hill, Dan Casey, Rachel Hine, and Alicia Lutz, sorry, who are always going to be showing up, and a surprise guest or two. You never know, you may be getting the sister wives on that particular one from the Nerdist podcast. I presume that, like you say, that it's that discussion about Teen Wolf in the middle of that little lot that's gotten everyone's attention on the forum.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. A lot of people are talking about the MTV party that's happening, that apparently is hosted by one of the actors from Teen Wolf. So I think that's a draw.
So everyone's going to basically pile out of this and then pile into that. So yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, on the Friday, none of this has been confirmed, but just to quickly go through the ones that have been announced, certainly for television. Friday, you have yourself The Big Bang Theory, Fear the Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Twin Peaks, Preacher, and The Defenders. That is going to be a rammed day in Hall H. That is going to be insane.
I had thought about doing Hall H myself on Friday. That I'd like to see Preacher. I mean, we've all seen The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones a number of times. Well, I shouldn't say we have all, but a bunch of us had. But I would enjoy seeing the Preacher panel. So I'm looking forward to that. Cool.
Well, like I say, none of these have been confirmed. We'll try and stick with the ones that have the official announcements from Comic-Con. So let's go down the line. So that's Hall H, which that's going to be. But if anything, if you are wanting to do the Hall H thing, perhaps you want to just check it out the first time you've been to Comic-Con. Perhaps you want to do Hall H, just knock that off the bucket list. The Thursday's the way to do it. So Sunday is going to be even more problematic because Doctor Who's in there. But Thursday's a good one.
The first time I was in Hall H, I was able to walk in. It was late in the afternoon. I was in there for one panel. It was, a pretty low-key affair, but it was my first introduction to how to deal with Hall H and what it meant. So, you know, you never know. Take a swing by later on, and things may have cleared out just after a big panel or something.
I get the feeling from around, from Team Wolf onwards, certainly. I think you're going to just be able to walk in. I really do think you're just going to be able to walk in. Obviously, Will Smith's going to be a big draw, and it's interesting that Netflix have announced that they're all going to be there. But I still think it's going to be something that you can just walk in. So, okay, so that's Hall H. Let's go down the line. We have ourselves Indigo, which we have always interesting panels in there. Kicking off with the 5th annual musical Anatomy of a Superhero. I love this panel. I know I'm a fan of movie music. The guys that are on stage are. There's one in there which I think is in my top 3 all-time favorite movie music composers, which is Brian Tyler. I love that man to death. So no, that's going to be an interesting panel. Always is. However, a lot of people are going to be sitting through that, twitching slightly as they get ready for Anything Goes with John Barrowman, which
a fan favorite.
if you've not experienced it before, holy crap, that's a firework going off on stage. That's something else. At which point we then get into some real niche stuff. And it's stuff which, frankly, I think you'll get fans coming in for one and then coming out. So it's going to be this huge turnover all day for this.
Yeah, the next 2 panels by Freeform, having done the television articles that I do every week, Freeform has really been coming up with some interesting stuff. I've got to start putting them on my radar. And the fact that they're showing up at San Diego is very interesting. I seem to recall Stitchers and Shadowhunters, which are the 2 respective panels that are after the Barrowman panel. And, you know, if you have to sit through something, those might be interesting because I know Colony and Van Helsing, Colony and Z Nation will get it. I'm kind of interested in seeing the fan reaction to Van Helsing, because while I didn't mind that show, a lot of people kind of. I'm sorry.
It was forgettable. Well, I watched the first 4 or 5 and I just couldn't connect with it at all.
But you know, but it was, you know, post-apocalyptic grunge kind of stuff, which, you know, slash and blood. So there's a part of that appeals to me. But I also like Z Nation, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so let's go through. Like I say, I think there's going to be a lot of bounce between the panels that are announced. Stitchers at 12 o'clock, Shadowhunters at 1, and then you're into Colony at 2 o'clock. Andrew Dickinson's joined us on the chat. Hello there, Andrew. Welcome along. Yes, the musical Anatomy was excellent last year. It always is a brilliant panel because they also show clips from upcoming stuff as well, which is also fun for the fans. But just to hear some great music and some people who are there who really do just get to the nuts and bolts of making something. They don't kind of faffle about in terms of, oh, this is my creative process. It's a case of, no, this is getting the work done. This is how I do this. This is how I service the project. This is what I do. And I love that. I love the kind of like the hitting hammer of a show. That's what I love. But anyway, Colony at 2, Van Helsing at 3. Like you say, I was surprised to actually see that even announced as a season 2. So that's an interesting addition thrown in there. Yeah. Z Nation at 4, which you do have Kalita Smith, DJ Qualls, Keith Allen, and Russell Hutchinson showing up as the cast for that. No confirmation of the producer of that showing up, but hopefully we'll get a sense of what that show is about, or certainly as we get into season 4 on the way. At which point you then have 2 interesting panels which I think are going to be fun. If you've not done Indigo before, these should be something that you could check out. Peter Davidson, Colin Baker, and Sophie Aldred are being invited over to talk Doctor Who Classic. Oh my word, I'm going to have to give them all a bell. Basically, I've been talking about this throughout the entire this little impromptu hangout. I've been saying all the Brits I'm going to have to invite to the UK attendees meetup, but I didn't realise those 3 were showing up. So no, I'm very excited about that. So that's cool. No, you're going to get a sneak peek of Doctor Who Wheel in Space, and also talk about BritBox bringing the classic Doctor Who to on demand in the States. So that's cool. And then you've got a live concert. The Sounds of Sonic and Sega, as performed by Shota Nakama, who's the master producer and composer, and also Jun Sunwei, who's the sound director and guitarist for Sonic. A live show, a live concert in Indigo. How cool is that? I think that's just going to be so much fun. I mean, do you go to Indigo at all? Is Indigo anywhere that you live? Because I know that they do a lot of animation stuff, and I think we see that certainly on the Friday as well. But do you go to Indigo at all?
I have always had one or two Indigo shows on my list to go to. I rarely have made it over there. There is a Marvel Plus panel that traditionally happens on Sunday morning, which is an invite only kind of a thing that I go to. However, I don't usually get there. If I thought I wasn't doing anything else and I could afford the time investment, I'd go over for Colony.
Cool.
So
excellent stuff. No, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm down with that entire day. But like I say, it's because it's niche stuff, and we're going to talk about the niche stuff in a bit with all the smaller panels. We'll quickly run through, because I know Alyssa's got to get off very quickly. We will talk about Indigo certainly on Saturday. Saturday's pretty much more or less been locked down, certainly for television stuff or live action. The originals at 12, Crimson at 1:15, Lucifer at 1:50, Gotham at 2:50. Magicians at 4, Expanse at 5, something in the middle there, which is going to be major, I suspect, and then Broad City at 7. So basically, Indigo is going to be rammed. Everything's going to be rammed on Saturday. It's just going to be insane. Okay, so let's go down the line. We have ourselves, we'll skip 6B BCF for the moment. We'll go to 6A, which has got, once again, some more niche stuff. It's all animation with one exception in the middle. And then it gets to 5:30 with some random stuff in the middle. We have ourselves at 10 o'clock, Teen Titans Go. The Teen Titans, I have been in a panel for the Teen Titans in a 280-seat room. And even then, people were wondering why the hell it's in such a small room. It deserves to be in bigger rooms. It's just a passionate fan base for that. So that's going to be a big one. And it's cool that they're doing it straight off the bat on the Thursday for the Teen Titans fans, and then they can kind of enjoy the rest of the day. Unikitty, which is a new animation spin-off from the Lego movie. Okay. So you're going to get the episode and the that's at 11:15. Justice League Action, which I think will be I think those two really should have been swapped around. What do you think? I think Justice League Action after Teen Titan Go, I think that just would. Yeah, I know.
You know, to my mind, I'm still I'm on 6A. I'm focused on the Robert Kirkman and the Comixology panel. Those are the two ones that are of interest to me. In 6A.
Well, let's go. Yeah, let's go down then. Rocco's Modern Life at 1:45. Yeah, the Robert Kirkman panel. Interesting that it's only an hour, but then again, I think you'll find even the big people only get the hour. But so no, he's going to have a lot to talk about. Batman Phantasm, which is basically just going to be a nice little fan hug for that particular film 25 years ago. Good Lord. Comixology, which is the Kevin Smith book movie trivia mayhem. It's a quiz. It's a pop quiz.
Yep. But Kevin Smith is always fun, you know. And I find a lot. I enjoy the personalities. I enjoy Kirkman's personality. I enjoy Kevin Smith's personality. They can carry the Barrowmans. They can carry a stage, and you know, you always, doesn't matter what they're talking about. Joss, you know, it doesn't matter. It's just the experience.
Yeah, and not only that, but you've also got the fact that this is going to be IMDb's debut panel. So there's going to be a little of interest there as well. Like I say, I think the Unikitty could have been moved further down or alongside Lego Ninjago, because then it's Lego movie stuff. It's back to back. It would have worked really well. And then you've got, and because it would have just nicely gone right there where Kevin Smith's panel is, and then straight into the Kung Fu extravaganza, which, like I say, lots of niche interest stuff there. So I think a lot of turnaround, it's going to be for people who want to just jump in, I think, on that particular room. Okay, so that's 6A. 6 BCF, some big stuff. And again, same drill. It's very niche interest. Not a great deal of blend between the two. So I don't think there's going to be a great deal of camping for this. Maybe towards the back end, there's going to be a lot of interest for a couple of the shows. Voltron Legendary Defender is obviously going to be a very big and popular panel on that. You're going to get the debut episode of season 3 on screen. Oh, and an exclusive poster, free swag for showing up. Lovely. Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies. Nazi Zombies? Yeah, okay, then. I need some sleep. Marvel Games, DC Universe Original Movies 10th Anniversary, nice little fan fest there, including Bruce Timm, Kevin Conroy, Tara Strong, etc., etc. Timeless Fan Tribute Celebration, the first show to be cancelled and renewed due to fan support 3 days later.
This one also seems to have quite a few of the cast and production attending. So, I mean, it's not just people talking about, fans talking about Timeless, it's the actual cast and crew of it. I think that's going to be one of the highlights for 6BCF on Friday. Ghosted, yeah. Ghosted, the next one is a new show that's premiering next fall in October. So that will be more of an introduction. I think what they're hoping for is that Timeless fans will stick around through Ghosted, get introduced to the show, and stick around for the 12 Monkeys panel, which I think is going to be huge.
Yeah.
But
well, I think both of those two will actually, because they've got a very passionate fan base. You've also got yourself Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, which will just attract the Joss Whedon fans out of the woodwork. So yeah, and it's always I watch sing-along blog on a regular basis. I'm still a fan. And then to wrap things up with the post that I put up on the site, it's 6DE. Again, this is all niche stuff, but there's lots of some comic stuff in here which I am interested in. Certainly DC All Access at 11:30, and Spotlight on Jim Lee and DC Jeff Johns. They're at 12:45 and 3:15 respectively, and Meet the Publishers in the middle. So yeah, a lot of DC stuff in there.
I have to say that after all of that really interesting DC comic stuff, if you're at all interested in DC, Lee and Johns and the publishers and All Access, fabulous. But to all of a sudden just come in at 8:15 with the sci-fi show Dark Matter.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
But, you know, it seems kind of like a little hodgepodgey. So.
I go along with that. Then again, I think a lot of people will be showing up between 7 and 8 for the Adam West celebration. True. Because that's going to be an incredibly emotional panel. I mean, Kevin Smith is just going to knock that out of the park. He was the man that was absolutely destined to be doing that panel. So no, that's going to be a lot of fun. So there you go. Those are the big rooms as I posted on the on my site. If you want to drop us a line, if you feel that there's any other rooms that I really should be doing spotlight pages for, let me know. Otherwise, admittedly, I've got a lot of typing to do between now and when I fly on Monday, but I'll do what I can. I promise. Okay.
If you don't mind, just because I'm going to have to go in a moment, let me take everybody through some of the hidden gems that. Go for it. What I've got a thread on the forum is basically I've asked people to come up with 3 panels that they think are hidden gems. So a number of people have contributed. Somebody, of course, contributed the Adam West panel that we just were talking about. TJ also contributed the Writer's Danger Room. Young mutants come to Professor X's School for the Gifted Youngsters. to learn how to control their mutant powers. It's an interactive workshop open to writers of all ages and skill levels. Bring a pencil and paper. And this is happening in the MMM at 12 o'clock. We've also got Sherlock with Stephen Moffat that's happening in room 5AB, which we didn't mention. Talk for all things Sherlock manga with showrunner, writer, and producer of the Doctor Who and Sherlock TV series, Moffat. Another panel is Ghostbusters 101. A Ghostbusters panel of biblical proportions.
Yeah, hang on a second. I have a page for that. Why didn't I miss it? Oh no, it was there. It was the thing that started Thursday. Absolutely. Yeah, it's got Ivan Reitman in there.
So just prepare to be slimed. I think was the thing. So that looks like fun. That's at 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. She also seconds your notion about Sonic and the Sega in concert.
Sega concert, yeah.
At the Indigo Ballroom. One other panel which San Diego Comic Fest started the idea on, which was it's called Sweet Christmas. It's a mock trial to prove Luke Cage is innocent. This is going to be in room 23 ABC at 8 p.m. And Luke Cage Marvel's Luke Cage ended with Luke in FBI custody for breaking out of prison. This will be a mock evidentiary hearing where attorneys will argue to the U.S. Magistrate Judge, Mitch Demlin, a writ of habeas corpus. So if you're at all interested in these types of blending of reality and legal stuff and the show, that would be an interesting one. Let's see. And did you want to add anything to that, Leonard?
Yeah, no, I've got myself a couple which I was particularly I'm very much taken by. Number one, you've got in room 9, IDW Spotlight panel on Walter Simonson, who is just a legend when it comes to comics. If you are a fan of his work, including Ragnarok, which he's done recently, and of course his legendary work on the Mighty Thor, certainly something that is going to be worth checking out. If anything, because if you've never seen him in action, the man can spin a yarn. He can tell a tale, and that's going to be an interesting one. That's between 12 and 1 in room 9. And then there's a panel which I think could actually serve as a little bit of a sequel to my British Invasion panel from last year. You've got Paul Levitt in conversation with Karen Berger. I actually wanted to try and get Karen on the panel last year, but she wasn't in San Diego last July. Legendary editor Karen Berger is going to be chatting with longtime colleague Paul Levitt about their work on Legion, Vertigo, life at and beyond DC, agreements, disagreements, watching him eat crow, and maybe even where comics are going from here. That woman is a legend when it comes to comics. In my mind, an underrated, as genuinely underrated. So we've got ourselves, that's at room 4 between 12:30 and 1. I can see myself in there. I can see myself. I can see myself taking part or joining in that panel.
Absolutely.
If anything,
to dovetail on that one, we've also got Why Will Eisner Still Matters at 100. That's at 3 o'clock in room 9. It's with Paul Levitz again. Jackie Estrada, Paul Dinn, Maggie Thompson, and you may be surprised to learn why this icon Eisner still matters after 100 years.
Absolutely.
So that's
not the only panel as well, because you've also got the Will Eisner Portrait of a Sequential Artist, which takes place at 9 o'clock as well, which obviously there's going to be a lot of Will Eisner reference stuff this year because of the 100th birthday. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. The feature-length documentary about Will Eisner is going to be shown by I think it's Danny Fingeroff, who was actually one of the people contributing. He wasn't actually the director, but no, he was one of the contributors to it. That's going to be an interesting one and well worth checking out if you find yourself footloose and fancy free on a Thursday evening. Considering all the parties that have been announced, I don't see that happening. Yeah, tell me about it. Social graces.
We're not going to go into parties because I don't have the time for it.
We don't have the time. Way too much stuff. Right, very quickly, a couple of things that have been coming up on the Q&A. The mock trial is a really funny idea from Under the Capes. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be rather cool. Andrew Dickinson's put up a very good point, and I think we'll take this time to acknowledge the death of Stanley's wife, which was announced yesterday. He's basically asking, do you think Stanley might pull out? Don't know if it'll do him any good or not to attend. 68 years married is a long time. Absolutely. We'll find out. We will find out. Rena is saying, Andrew, I'll be stunned if you went. But at the end of the day, I think he wants to celebrate.
One thing that I think, having been through a number of traumas in my life, I certainly not having somebody that I was married to for 68 years die, but been through a number of traumas, you don't know how you're going to react. And for other people to say he should pull out or he shouldn't pull out, and nobody's saying that, but speculating on that, it's really up to him. He may find that he wants and needs the people and the energy and the enthusiasm from all of the fans and the condolences that everybody will pour out to him. So if he does come, I think it will be a healing thing that he does. He may indeed want to be alone, and that I can totally respect. So I think I could respect him whatever decision he makes.
Exactly. On this one, because if he comes, he's going to be embraced by family and friends, 160,000 of them, and if he doesn't, I totally get it. So I would whatever he decides, I don't think anyone will be able to begrudge him what he actually gets up to. So,
let me finish up my panels because I got to go.
Go.
The Jack Kirby, Consciousness, Roger Zelazny's Lord of Light, Brian Ira Gallagher, and the Real Argo. I was fascinated to learn that Jack Kirby wrote the script, the fictional script that in the early 1960s that they used in the movie, not in the movie, but in the actual getting the people out of Iran that was pictured in the movie Argo. I never knew that, and that is absolutely fascinating. One more thing, the King, Jack Kirby, my man. I love this. So this is one of the panels that I think on Thursday morning that I'm really going to get to, just because I love Argo and I love Kirby, and I'm going to do that. The one other panel on Thursday, which I know is a bit kind of on the wacky, the wacky deep side. It's called Whose Team Are You On? And it's at 8 o'clock at night in 29 AB. The Psychology of World Belief and Personality. It basically talks about the landscape of interesting of Iron Man versus Captain America, Batman versus Superman, Justice League versus the Avengers. Which team are you on? Research studies by a couple of PhDs in psychology talk about, how are you Team Cap or are you Team Iron Man kind of stuff. And I find that kind of sociologically interesting. If anybody else is interested, meet me up, meet me at the panel, because that one sounds really fun. Let's see. American Gods is happening, celebration to the 9th degree in room 2 at 4:30. Scott Hamilton will take the audience on a step-by-step guide through the process of making the comic pages for the Dark Horse American Gods comic book. So that might be of interest too.
Cool.
I think Walter Simonson is also going to have a thing, but also there's going to be a Signwick there's going to be a number of panels first thing in the morning with Signwick, Dave Gibbons, David Wagner, Scotty Young, Kat Scraggs, and Gail Seaman. Do you know which panels these are, Leonard?
I don't, I'm afraid. I'm going to have to go through and have a check.
I know that there's a spotlight panel on Signwick, whose art I absolutely adore and would love to own a piece of it. If anybody wants to contribute towards the cause, please do. And what other panels are you looking forward to, Leonard?
Well, I mean, I was vaguely interested in the 2000 AD Thrill Fest, which is taking place in 29 AB, purely because obviously he's a Brit. But the reason why I was curious about this panel was because I was hoping that we were going to see something which would lead into the Judge Dredd Mega City 1 TV series, which has been announced. Instead, it is going to be more of a celebration of the 40 years, because at the end of the day, 2017, it's the 40th anniversary of 2000 AD. You do have Dave Gibbons, who has confirmed who is going to be in the room. So maybe I should have just done a sequel to the panel, because all the people I wanted to get on last year, they're in San Diego this year, which is frustrating. No.
Trendsetter, Leonard.
I know. But there we go. So Dave Gibbons is going to be in the room. That's room 29 AB between 2 and 3. Yeah, 1987, the greatest geek year ever. Jose Molina, Robert Mayer Burnett. You've got Scott Mans from Access Hollywood. You've got Charles de Lorisca, who, if you own a DVD or a Blu-ray, you have seen some of his documentary work. It's simple as that. Looking at 1987, Predator, Princess Bride, Lethal Weapon, Lost Boys, Robocop, Near Dark, Spaceballs, Hellraiser, Untouchables, Running Man. It's an insane year, and that is going to be a fun little fun little panel. That's going to be in 5 AB between 3 and 4. So I just wanted to just jump on for like 20 minutes, half an hour, and just talk about what we've seen and talk about the panels in the big rooms. But there we go. I'll let you get off, Alyssa. And yes, everyone, thank you very much for joining us.
I have you want to go over Friday's panels tomorrow morning?
Nope. Oh, tomorrow, if I've got time, if I'm awake, yes, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, well, tomorrow morning for my time.
No worries.
Same time.
Yeah, we'll do this. I don't know if we'll be able to do it on Saturday. Don't know if we'll be able to do it on Sunday, but we'll try our best. I mean, we're going to be talking about the panels as an overview on the Sunday show, of course. Mm-hmm. But we'll do this. Yeah, we'll try and do this regular thing tomorrow. Okay. Fair enough. Right.
Bye,
in
everybody.
Which case, we won't be announcing the time. Just keep an eye on my Twitter. Turn on the notifications. Hopefully, you should have had them on already anyway. And so, like 10 minutes after that, we'll go live. It'll be around this time, around about 1:30, so like Pacific. So there we go. All right.
Like 9 Eastern time, maybe.
9 Eastern. Yeah. Okay. Take care. We'll see you soon, and see you tomorrow as we see if we can go over Friday's schedules announcements. Take care.
Bye all.